Picture this. It's 2024. You walk into your kitchen and you see orangey oak cabinets and you say, man, my kitchen is dark, it's dreary. I really wish that I could afford a new kitchen, but I can't because the kitchen's gonna cost 30, 40 grand. What can I do? So you run to YouTube and you see all of these kitchen makeovers and you say to yourself, well, maybe I'll paint. And you consider it and chew on it and chew on it and chew on it. And then eventually, after you've looked at so many YouTube videos, you go on to Instagram or you go on to Facebook and you see ads over ads over ads of this Retique It system. You can paint anything and make it look like wood. And at first you say, I can't do that. It's not for me. But then the more you see them, the more you're convinced that maybe you can do it. Can you? Can you really? Stay tuned. You're going to find out my journey into Retique It. Hi everybody, I'm Carla with a K, and this is my new channel about DIY, product reviews, and life in general. I am the every woman out there who is not on YouTube making the content, making these beautiful changes in their. I'm not that person, okay? I'm the person that if I can make it work, you can feel confident that you can make it work because I suck at everything. Truly. I truly do. I wanted to do this video about Retique It because specifically, and this is the first review on this channel, obviously, right? So the reason I wanted to do this review about Retique It is because I looked high and low for this video, the stuff that I'm about to tell you. I looked high and low before I started my Retique It journey. And if I had seen this video, and if somebody had kept it real with me, then I might have chosen a different route for my kitchen. So I'm making this because it's the one I wanted to see, but I couldn't find it anywhere. My Retique It journey started before Christmas, right? So I've been wanting to update my kitchen for ages. I did one update about 4 years ago now. I had white laminate countertops. I had this like old flooring, you know, that old kitchen flooring, like the laminate flooring. It was terrible. And then I had these orangey oak cabinets. And I knew I couldn't replace the cabinet, so I got an estimate back then. So this was like 2017. I got an estimate back then, and the estimate was somewhere around $20,000 to $30,000 to replace all the cabinets, all the countertops, get new flooring, all of that, right? I was not financially prepared to do that at then. I just had higher priorities. I have done a lot of upgrading of the major things in the house, like the roof, getting new air conditioning systems, making sure the deck didn't fall off the house. You know, things like that I thought were more important than getting a kitchen upgrade, right? So I've pretty much done everything except getting the kitchen upgraded. I even bought, so last year I went and bought all new appliances, right? So I got a new dishwasher, I got a new stove, one of those double stoves. I got a new refrigerator because mine died. I got a new dryer because my dad moved in the house, and I needed one with Wi-Fi because he lives in the basement, and I didn't want him to have to walk all the way up the steps to figure out what the status of the washer was. So I got a washer with Wi-Fi for him. So I've got a lot of new appliances, but the kitchen was kind of one of those things I hadn't done yet. My kitchen's not small. Like, it's not huge. Like, the way it's configured, it's kind of weird. So it's not huge, but it's configured in a way that it's got a lot of cabinets, at least from my perspective, right? It's got a lot of cabinets and it's got a lot of drawers, right? So I've got like 25 cabinet doors and I want to say maybe 15 drawers, right? It's kind of a lot, right? I'm going to put the pictures on here. The biggest issue for me was light, right? I have these two big picture windows in my kitchen area. One sitting directly in front of the dining room area, one sitting right over the sink, right? But I have a huge tree outside that blocks like most of the light. So when you did what I did, which is dumb. When I got ready to like replace things, I would just replace things one at a time without thinking of the design in whole, right? So when I had these laminate countertops and I said I don't want laminate countertops anymore, so I went and bought new countertops, but I wasn't really thinking about a whole design. If I had to do it again, I would probably do it differently. So anyway, I got these dark countertops, right? And then I got this dark flooring. And then I had these orangey oak cabinet doors. And it just made, and then I had this black stainless steel, all black stainless steel appliances that I just replaced. So it just looked really, really dark in there. And I just hated being in my kitchen. I just didn't want to be in anymore. And so finally I was like, I got to do something. And so I saw these Retique ads and I was like, oh, this is it. I want to, because here's the thing. I did not want a white kitchen. Here's what I did know. I did not want a white kitchen at all. I'm probably one of the few people on the planet that did not have no desire for a white kitchen. I had no desire for it whatsoever. I have always liked the warmth of wood, right? But I wanted a light wood. I did not want a dark wood, right? So I wanted that smooth pecan. So you see the Retique ads and you have the smooth pecan. I wanted the smooth pecan. That was it. I said, if I can get this smooth pecan, this is great. This is perfect. This is just enough. It'll be enough to lighten up the cabinets. And I think it will be enough to lighten up the kitchen. I was right about that. I was wrong about a lot of things, but I was right about that part. Lightening up the cabinets absolutely lightened up the kitchen. So I convinced myself somehow that I had enough artistic capability, which I have none. Let me tell you, I have zero. When it comes to art, I'm an artist, but I am a written word artist. I write books. I'm not an artist. I'm not an interior designer by any stretch of the imagination. I am cheap. And so I am too cheap to go pay either to have a designer come in here and design for me or to like go buy a kitchen cabinet installed or whatever. Like cheap, broke, I mean, 6 of one, six of one, half a dozen of the other, you call it what you want to call it. I just did not want to put the money into that, right? So anyway, I convinced myself that I could do this Retique It, right? So I bought the I think it was $350 and some change, the large smooth pecan kit from Retique. Lesson learned, first lesson learned, even with the 25 cabinets and the 15 drawers, I probably could have done the whole kitchen with 2 quarts. Did not need that whole gallon of paint, right? The kit came with 1 gallon of paint, 2 quarts of stain, and 3 quarts of the top coat, right? That satin top coat. And then it came with 3 brushes, I believe, right? So it's like two 2-inch brushes and 1 3-inch brush or something like that. There was enough in the whole kit in terms of the painting, so what you have to do with Retique It is you have to paint on 2 coats of the primer, and then you can stain. Okay? Okay. So that's kind of it for the kit. So what I'm going to show you right now is the before and the after pictures of my kitchen. And you will notice something when you see the before and after pictures. What you will notice is that my cabinets as of today are not Retique It. I suck at the retiquing, okay? So I painted my cabinets with the heirloom all-in-one paint. The color is tapestry, which is a warm tan is what they call it. Some places you'll see it as warm tan, and other places you will see it as khaki brown. It really looks more like a khaki brown. So why did I end up painting, you may ask? So let me be clear about something, very clear about this. I do not blame the kit. I do not blame Retique It. I do not blame the kit, because the truth is that if you use Retique It correctly, it will give you that wood look. 100%. If you can do it correctly, you can achieve that smooth pecan look. It gives you a beautiful wood finish. So why didn't my experience work out? I think multiple things were at play. One is I don't have the flat. I don't have flat cabinets. So there were a lot of like curves and molding and stuff in my cabinets, where when I tried to stain, the stain would just kind of pool in there, and you either had to go in there and wipe, or you had to wait for it to dry, try to paint over it. It didn't work out. Whatever I had to do, it didn't work. I would paint, I would stain it, right? And to correct the stain, you know, and the dripping, I would try to put some more stain on it. But every time you did that, it ends up getting darker and darker and darker and darker, until I ended up with the same orangey wood color that I already had. It was so bad. I was like, and I honestly, I gave it the old college try. I did. I tried it for probably 3 days, painting my whole, you know, doing Retique It across my whole kitchen, but not one cabinet was like the same color as another, and none of them were the right color. None of them looked like smooth pecan. This is where my tips come in, right? Because the good news is, if you screw it up, if you run out of time or whatever, if you try Retique It and you screw it up, you can always paint. This can happen. Truly, you need to let it dry a few days, and then you can go over it with paint. Now, right now, I would say my cabinets probably have about 7 layers of paint. Because I did the Retique It, you know, you have to do 2 coats of the Retique It, then you have to stain, and then I had the, like, too much stain, and then, so I tried again to do the 2 layers of Retique It, then I tried to stain again, and it still looked bad, so then I ended up painting over it. Now, I think I did 1 coat of primer, and then I ended up painting over it, so, yeah, I didn't strip all that paint off. It still came out very nice, you know, still came out looking very nice. But anyway, so I have 7 tips for you guys. 7 important key tips that should help you determine whether the kit is truly for you, okay? It might not be for you, and you should just be okay with that and go buy the paint, because you can do the paint. You could do like a Beyond paint or Heirloom Tradition paint or whatever. Do some kind of 1 coat primer paint, you know, that has the top coat and everything in it. And that is the most forgiving. It's expensive. It's not cheap paint, right? For me, a gallon was like $100, right? A lot of people may not think that's expensive. Other people may think that's very expensive. But what I will say is it's the most forgiving paint that you could ever paint. Like when I painted one coat on it, it was sketchy. When I painted the second coat on it, it was just beautiful and it came out perfect. And honestly, I've been using my cabinets and drawers and everything pretty much daily. I don't have a chip or anything that the paint is holding up so far. Anyway, I've got 7 tips, and then you can decide if Retique It is for you. All right, so tip number 1. Tip number 1 is this. Do not let all those videos convince you that Retique It is made for beginners. Retique It is not made for beginners. It is not made for people who have not used it before. If you don't have a lot of experience with staining furniture, if you don't have a lot of experience with doing DIY projects, starting out with Retique It on your kitchen, not the way to go. So it's not made for DIY beginners. They make you think it's made for beginners. It's not made for beginners. I think anyone can potentially make this work, but it takes practice, right? But don't practice on your kitchen. Don't practice on your kitchen. Don't practice on your kitchen cabinets. Don't practice. That's not the place to practice, right? So the beautiful thing is, like, when they, and what I didn't do, okay, just be honest, I didn't do it because I thought, I got this. The videos had me convinced I didn't need to do this, and you need to do this. In the instructions, they tell you, buy a piece of wood, buy a piece of wood, use the Retique It, and practice. And I cannot tell you guys enough. You need to practice. Practice, practice, practice. You need to practice. You need to practice. You think you don't need to practice? You need to practice. If you don't have experience in doing DIYs and stuff, practice. Get yourself a piece of wood, cheap piece of wood. Go to your local Lowe's, go to your local Home Depot, whatever. Go in your basement or your garage. Find a piece of furniture that you can practice on, or a tabletop or a piece of wood or something you can practice on, and then practice on it. I promise you, you want to do this. When you practice, you want to practice, you will get a different finish. Using a paintbrush will give you a different finish than a dried t-shirt. Will give you a different finish than a wet t-shirt. Will give you a different finish than a chip brush, right? I saw all those recommendations for the different tools to use, and I used all of them. I tried everything. And there would be some times when I could think I almost got the color that I wanted, and then I couldn't remember like what I did to get that. So then I would try something else and it would be completely different. So my recommendation for you guys is practice, and then practice when you get the look that you want. Practice again with the same tool, doing the same technique. Memorize that, because that is what you're going to have to do to get the look on the cabinets later. And if you don't remember the technique you did, then you're probably not going to get a consistent look from cabinet to cabinet, door to door, drawer to drawer. Okay, so just practice is all I have to say. Practice until you get the color that you want, and then remember that if you got to videotape yourself doing it so you could see how you got it, do it. I didn't do that. I didn't do that at all. My plan was like to videotape the whole thing. But I was on the struggle bus for so long that I didn't even I didn't have time to record because I was so busy like sweating this. Align your expectations to your strengths. So what I mean by that is I am not an artist in any way, shape, or form. When I do DIY, I've painted. I've painted walls, you know. I've put IKEA furniture together. You know, I've painted cabinets. So I even painted, I used the heirloom paint to do my bathroom cabinets. So I did small cabinets. And those were my strengths. And in the future, that's pretty much what I'm going to do. You know, I went through this whole DIY, the decluttering journey, right? So I went and bought all the stuff for decluttering. I could do that. I went and bought, like, you know, you see the stuff behind me, like for my bed, you know, the comforters and stuff like that. I could do that. I don't know if you can see over here, but I have some like crochet yarn because I'm working on a project, a crochet project. I'm barely doing it, but I'm doing that. When it comes to staining, doing the Retique It on like an entire kitchen, that's not my bag, right? You know, if it's not your bag, you know. And if it's not your bag, don't do it. Stay away from it. Don't do it. Okay. Here was the funny thing. Like every time I would look at a Retique It video, here's what you'll see. Go look at some videos, you'll see what I'm talking about. What they will do is they'll get you excited. They'll show you the beginning. They'll show you like maybe a couple of strokes of them starting to do maybe the first 1 or 2 coats. And then they skip. And then skip to the finished product. And you don't see like the middle, right? You don't see how they actually got from the 2 strokes to the finished product. And you know why? Because it takes so much practice. And they know it didn't happen like quickly. No, it took wiping it on, wiping it off, figuring this out. Oh, I finally did this. I got the look on this one door. Now I got to repeat it on 40 doors. No, it wasn't easy. It wasn't clean. It wasn't quick. There isn't one way to do it. There is an art to that, truly an art to it. And if you're not in the habit of staining things regularly, like people that do furniture makeovers and stuff like that, don't mess with it. Go get paint. Don't mess with the Retique It because it's not for you. It's really not for you. There's a market for people that can use Retique successfully. I am not the market. You may not be the market. Some of you may be the market, and that's fine. Some of you might be able to get the wood and you may be able to practice, and then you may be able to figure out the right technique to get the right look. I'm not one of those people. And if you're not one of those people who's going to have the patience and the time to actually do that, don't. Just paint. Just paint. You can get that. You can paint in 2 days. Tip 4 is start small. Practice on something like a little cabinet. Practice on a little piece of wood. Get that technique right. Don't practice on your kitchen. I promise you, you don't want to practice on your kitchen. I've seen some people even use Retique It on like their countertops. Like I feel like a countertop is actually a better place to start because it's flat. It's within your reach. You don't have to reach up. You don't have to reach down. And you can take your time and see how you're doing. Now, for me, I want to say I have over 100 square feet of countertops. For me, if I did a countertop, it's not a quick thing, right? Got a lot of countertop space. So if you're like me and you have a lot of countertop space, don't start with that. Okay, start with a piece of wood. Figure it out on a piece of wood and then go to your countertops. If you have small countertops, then you might have a little more give, right? You might be able to experiment a little more and then paint over it and then experiment some more until you get the right thing. Another thing I will say is that the grading tool might give you a different finish, or you know what I mean? It may be a little easier to work with. Trying to do the smooth pecan or the smooth, I could imagine any of them would be difficult if you're not doing something really dark. Here's the thing. With pecan, it's like the lightest of the light, right? So once you stain and then you stain over and you stain over, you're getting out of pecan territory if you do more than 1 or 2 coats of pecan, right? After that, you're out of pecan territory. You're getting into like dark oak, orangey oak to darker oak territory. So you can really only afford to do 2 coats and then 1 or 2 coats of the stain. And that's it. Once you get past 1 or 2, if it doesn't look the way you want it to look, you got to start over again, because it's just going to keep getting darker and darker and darker and darker and darker. And you will be out of the smooth pecan territory. Now, if you want something darker, then you probably want to go with a darker kit anyway. But if you're like me and you needed the lighter color cabinets because of the light, you don't want to do too many coats of the dark. It won't work. It will look bad. So tip number 5. Tip number 5 is this. Schedule enough time. Schedule enough time. Okay, so what happened with me is before Christmas, I had this epiphany that I could get like this Retique It done during my Christmas vacation. So my plan was to take a few days, the first few days of my Christmas vacation, get the whole kitchen retiqued and done, finished, and then I'd be able to chill for the rest of the holiday. Well, that didn't work out so well. So it took me about 4 days to figure out that I couldn't do Retique It. And then I had to order paint. And I got the paint, and then I had to order supplies. And when I ordered supplies and everything, and then I ended up painting. For everybody who needs to know what supplies I used to do the Retique It or the paint, I actually used the supplies for both. You can use the supplies for both. I have links to everything in the comment sections. Now, let me just tell you, I am an Amazon associate because I'm an author, right? So the reason I have the Amazon associate account is because I usually link my books to my Amazon associate account. I usually don't, link products like I know a lot of content creators do. I don't do it because I'm not a content creator typically, right? I haven't been. I might become one slowly, very, very slowly. But I can tell you, like, the max I've ever gotten out of like an Amazon check is like $12, something like that. I don't make a lot of money on actual products and stuff like that, right? This is all to say that if you want the supplies, you want to know what I used and the stuff, it is linked down below, and I only put it down there for your convenience to find stuff, because I know I was looking for like the drop cloths and the chip brushes, the sticky cloth that you use, like this. I mean, I did the whole thing. Okay, so let me just take a second to tell you what my process was. So when if you question about like, did she really do all the stuff? Yeah, I did all the stuff. First thing I did, I cleaned my cabinets with the denatured alcohol. I sand it, like to rough up the surface, just a light sand. I didn't do a heavy sand. I used a tack cloth to get all of the stuff off the, you know, the residue off of it after I did the sanding. I did that. Then I used the 3 paint brushes that they gave us in the kit to do the actual 2. I bought to do the 2 coats of the primer, Retique primer, which is basically putting wood, like a wood primer onto your cabinets. You could see the wood. It was neat. You really could see the wood fibers. You can't really like use that as a paint primer because you can see the fibers. Actually, you can see the wood fibers. It says it's made out of 60% wood fibers. That is true because you could actually see the wood fibers in it when you paint it on. When it dries, you can't see it, but when it's wet, you can see it. So I did that, and then I did all the techniques. I did the brush technique to do the staining. I did the brush technique. I did the t-shirt. I did the chip brush. I mean, I did a combination of all the things, and and you will see behind, you know, when I run this, I'll have examples of what the cabinet tops actually look like. So I took pictures of everything. I did not record everything because it was such a long process, and it was very hard for me to actually get the look that I was looking for. So what ended up happening to me is my cabinets, they ended up kind of looking dirty. They didn't look like smooth pecan to me. Now my dad and my son were like, oh, they look great. They lied. They just lied because they saw how much I was working trying to get it to look right, and I think they just didn't want to hurt my feelings. They were lying. You will see it. You will see. You will say, yep, Carla, they were lying to you. They were lying to you because that is not what smooth pecan is supposed to look like. It was so funny. I posted it on Instagram, like when I was first doing it, and nobody commented. Like I got like 1 or 2 comments, and I didn't get any, not even from Retique, because I know they didn't want to be associated. They didn't want to be associated with my cabinets. And they were like, ooh, you know. So trust me, it's not for everybody, and it can't. It can't work for everybody. Schedule enough time. I was actually able to like paint and repaint and stain and everything like 2 cycles for a 4-day period for the kitchen that size that I have, which is, it's pretty, like, it's not, like I said, in terms of square footage, I don't know, it's like 400 square feet, but there's a lot of cabinets, uppers and lowers, right? So schedule enough time to do it. Schedule enough time so that if you realize this isn't my thing, that you can order paint and that you can paint. So I'm like super happy with my kitchen now, but it took a while to get there. Tip 6 is paint. If you know that you have not had, listen, you can avoid doing what I did, the 2 cycles of the Retique It and then actually painting, by just painting. And I can't even stress this enough. I kept going back and forth with myself. I was like, should I paint or should I try the Retique It? And I was almost set to just paint. But I'm glad that I didn't paint, because I would have always in the back of my mind wondered, can I do the Retique It? No, I don't need to wonder anymore. The answer is no. I cannot. I do not have the skill set to do it. Now, there are a lot of people out there that absolutely do have the skill set to do Retique It. I am not that person. If you're not that person, there is no shame in finding the right paint color and just painting. There's no shame in it. A lot of people don't mind white cabinets and stuff. Get some paint white. I wanted more of a tan, a warmer color. right? And I didn't want a dark warm. I wanted a light warm. If I had white countertops, I would have done a dark paint on my cabinets, right? I would have done the darker paint color on my cabinets, like is in my bathrooms. Like I have a light color marble in my bathrooms, so I put a dark color cabinet and they look beautiful. I would have done the same in my kitchen, except for I have a dark colored countertop and I have a dark floor because I have a dog. I have a big dog. I have a English Mastiff. He's almost 200 pounds. So when he clogs through my kitchen and stuff to go to the garage to eat or whatever, there's a lot of wear and tear on my floors with him. And so I have dark floors and I have luxury vinyl because it spares my floors. So if you're going to have dark countertops and you're going to have dark flooring, you need to have a lighter color on your countertop if you value light. Now, if you don't value light, go ahead, go dark with it all. But for me, I value light. This is one of the reasons I bought the house that I'm in, because it's got so many windows and I can and I get sunlight from practically when I wake up. Like I'm one of those people who during the winter months, I get a little depressed because there's no sunlight. Or you get reduced sunlight, and I need sunlight. So anyway, bottom line is know your lane and stay in it. Don't try to do Retique It if you know that you're not a person who can do these DIY projects. If you know that you haven't been successful before in doing these projects, don't try it. Don't let the videos fool you. Don't let all these other people that have done these Retique It kitchens and they make it look so wonderful because they were able to do the smooth pecan and lighten up their kitchens and it looks so different. That might not be you. It wasn't me. I convinced myself that I could be those people. I can't be those people. I needed to paint. I needed to be able to put something on, one color, one coat, or two coats. Really, I did 2 coats. So figure out if you're that person. If you're not, there's no shame in not being a Retique It person. You could be a paint person and it'd be okay. Okay? I'm glad though that I was at least willing to paint, because my kitchen, I love it now. I love it now. Like I look forward to going in there now. I look forward to cooking. I did not like to do either before. I love to do it now. It's perfect. Okay. Tip 7, my last tip, is backsplash and wall color matter, especially wall color. I'll tell you my story. So when I finally got around to figuring out that I couldn't do Retique It, and I ended up doing the tapestry paint, I had Jersey Cream, Sherwin-Williams Jersey Cream color on my walls. And so when I painted my cabinets this warm tan, it completely like washed out the Jersey Cream color, completely washed out the warm tan. So it ended up looking like a grayish, like a gray beige. I was like, this is not the color. It's not popping, and I don't like it. So what I ended up doing is doing at least one part of the kitchen, and I will do the rest sometime later this year, but it's not happening anytime soon. But I at least did the U shape in my kitchen. I painted that white. Okay, and then the color popped and it was like perfect. And then I put some backsplash, so you'll see the backsplash, and I'll have a picture of the backsplash to show you guys. So I did tapestry, white paint, and then I did this peel and stick backsplash. And between all three, I finally finally got the kitchen that I really want to. So, anyway, here's the last look at my kitchen. You'll see above, now you'll see that I have the night lights in here. So these are puck lights. These are just puck lights. They run off of batteries. I did the painted the walls. I made myself a new breakfast bar. In previous weeks, I had gone through a big decluttering thing, right? A big decluttering phase. I decluttered my pantry. I decluttered all of my cabinets, all of my drawers, got them all organized, everything. All of the stuff that I used is linked below. What I have in there right now is it. And it's going to look the same way for at least 6 months. At least. And that's only if I get the hankering to change the look. So I'm just not that person to like redecorate frequently. I know I've seen videos. I've been inspired by so many videos of people who like decorate and all the time, and all. No, that's just, it's not me. You're not going to see that from me. But what you will see from me like is different product reviews, and I have like a bunch lined up that I've been wanting to do but I haven't done. So you know, vacuum cleaners, my KitchenAid grain and rice cooker, things like this. Jennifer Garner got me into that. I love that thing. But anyway, so what was the total price tag? So even with the Retique It hiccup, which was like that $350 hiccup with the kit and everything, my kitchen still was less than $1,000, all told, like all totaled, and that is the paint for the cabinets, which was like $99, all the paint supplies, which I'll probably give like $200 or something like that, $250, and then like all the decor I bought, like the vases. The vases on my island were like $20. I got a set of 3 for like $20. Another vase, the utensil holder, my little coffee bar. I mean, all of that stuff put together, the jars for my coffee bar, all of that. It was probably $200, give or take. So it's probably less than $1,000 to like screw up completely and paint over my big mistakes, and then decorate. I already had like the rugs. I already had the cabinet pulls. Those already were in the kitchen. So I had put those in when I did my 2017 redo. So when I did like the Gianni paint kit, so like if you ever want to do countertops, the Gianni paint kit is what I used to like paint my cabinets before paint my countertops before I got all of them removed and I got granite put in. But then I got the cabinet pulls and all of that. I just reused the cabinet pulls. So I didn't have to pay for that. Like I said, it was just the counter decor pretty much that I bought. So it was like a less than $1,000 even with my mistake. So if you think about it, even for this big, you know, the size of my kitchen, it still came to about $600, which is a pretty good price to pay compared to like 30 grand. Like, and it's probably more now to get it fixed because I got that estimate like years ago. So it probably costs quite a bit more than that now to like get the cabinets that I would really want, you know, like the soft close cabinets with the big drawers so that I could put the cookware in them and all of that stuff, which I'm not going to get. I'm going to stick with what I have for a while. So that's it. If I had to do it all again, here's some tips. If I had to do it all again, one, I would order the cheapest, smallest kit that I could order, and then I would get a piece of wood and I would perfect my technique. I would memorize it. I would do it over and over again to make sure that I could repeat it. And at that point, when I felt comfortable repeating it, at that point I would try to paint. So I would actually buy the kit. Like, I would schedule a time to do my kitchen, and then I would maybe buy the kit a month in advance and practice before I even got to the date on my kitchen, so that I could do my kitchen on my schedule. But you need time to practice and do that if you're not just a regular DIYer, or if you're not somebody who does, restores furniture or things like that on a regular. You can learn to retique it, but it is a process. And so I'm not going to tell you it's easy. If you need something easier and faster and quicker because your time is really compressed, then you just need to get it done. Or if you're like me and you just want it done so that you can sit down somewhere and relax. I work crazy hours, long days. I just wanted to get it over with so I could sit down and relax. If you're that kind of person and you have that kind of hurried schedule, you've got like multiple kids running around. I have a 24-year-old son who was in he was in everything. But I can't imagine having like little ones running around while I'm trying to do this. If you've got that and you can't like send your kids to your parents, the grandparents, for a few days, listen, that's not for you. Don't do that. Don't retique it. If you can, maybe pay somebody to do it, but even that's expensive. I mean, I've seen people get charged between $4,000 and $7,000 just to paint their cabinets that they already have. I wasn't willing to do that, which is why I, dug in and painted. So, but I would say perfect the technique before you get started, and make sure that you could do a repeatable technique on any size, whether it's a drawer or whether it's a cabinet door. Okay. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. I will see you next time.